After 3 months of putting off my Taipei vlog, I'm finally getting around to it. In this video, you'll see all the things I did when I was in Taipei. Starting off, I went sightseeing. I visited Taipei High School where Jay Cho's Secret was filmed. And around this area, you'll find Taipei's oldest university, Alethea University. Not sure where we are.
I have to post.
This building right here is Oxford College. Onwards toward the pier, Danshui was a major trade harbor back in the days. Nowadays, it's mostly known for Danshui All Street, where there's a lot of street food. In this museum, you'll see the glory past of the Danshui Harbor. If this is your first time in Taipei, you will definitely visit Shilling Night Market. It is the most touristy place ever, but there's still a lot of good food to be found here. Like this fried sweet potato mochi ball is something I've never tried before. The grilled corn here was really good, worth the 15-minute wait. And of course, if you're in Shilling, you have to try the Taiwanese fried chicken. Welcome to one of my most visited culture park. In Taiwan, culture parks are often old factory campus turned into a venue for exhibitions, cultural events, and creative space. This one that I'm at last time was originally a winery during Japanese rule. Today I'm here to check out a pop-up store of my favorite Taiwanese YouTube channel, Fumi and Cats. Their brand slogan is 7 cats, we live in Taipei. The store was doing a scavenger hunt to collect the stamps of all 7 cats, so I actually got a chance to explore the full campus for once. It's located in a prime real estate location, so when it fell into disuse, like any other place that falls into disuse, artists came in and took it over, turned it into this artsy campus you see today. It's beautiful here for picnics, and it's a nice nature getaway right in the center of the city. Now this is my #1 favorite place in Taipei. Dadaochun is heaven for anyone who likes tea, likes history, or likes architecture. When I visited, it was right before Chinese New Year's. I saw a lot of vendors setting up their goods along the Qilo. Qilo is the covered walking space. Since we're on the topic of architecture, you can see a lot of interesting shop house buildings here, and it can accommodate courtyards like this. The inside of the buildings may look Chinese, but the exteriors have the pseudo-Western facade. So little history on Dadaochun. It was a neighborhood that really flourished during Japanese rule under tea trade. So they have galleries here, and this one was made just for me. It was about signage lighting in the early days of Taipei, but no videography allowed, so whoops. I needed to get tea for my friends, so I went to this factory that I usually go, and it just so happens that they were a poll location for the presidential elections. So what you're seeing here, they were counting up all the votes they got, and it's kind of a very old-fashioned way. I was surprised that this is how they do it. I thought it would be all electronic, but it's kind of cool. So everybody is there. It's open to the public, so people can point out, hey, you counted wrong or whatever. Going back to Taiwan is also an opportunity for me to hang out with friends I haven't seen in a while. So this group that you're seeing right now, we've known each other since we were in middle school. And sometimes none of the things we say make any sense, but it's kind of fun to be able to go back to when we were just 13. There's kind of like a tradition going on that we would celebrate New Year's Eve at my place. And as you can see, there's a 3-screen setup because in Taiwan, every city have their own New Year's Eve concert. So artists would just travel on bullet trains in between each city. So now we're going on to the countdown.
OK 吗？还是你要投财？
它这个完全
还是要进去拿火柴啊？ 哦，吓死我，真的。好危险了！我往外。他还是往外放，你要往我家客厅撒。新年快乐！可是你对不起，你等一下，没关系。
So happy 2020. I'm only 4 months late, 3 months late, I don't know. Another friend I met up with while I was back in Taiwan is Claire. And she's currently going to grad school in Taiwan, so we hit up one of the most college-y areas in Taipei, which is Gongguan. And here you're seeing one of my favorite Taiwanese food being prepared. I was craving omurice for the longest time. I wanted the ones that kind of have like the oval egg that you slice open. But this one was pretty good too. It came with 2 sides of different sauces, so you could kind of try. So Shinyi is kind of like the most trendy spot in Taipei. It has a lot. It's basically a shopping district. There's probably 4 different malls in there, and every mall has the best food court and the best cafes there. And the desserts here are so good, which is why we had 2. Zhongshan is also another great place to hang out with your friends. They have so many different cafes, so we got some matcha dessert. So we went to another cafe that kind of had like a more vintage style to it. But somehow I haven't had boba yet in this video, but this one was really good. It's mung bean frap with boba, which makes you feel a little healthier. One of the best things to do in Taiwan if you have family there is to get them to buy you free meals. So what you're looking at right now is seafood heaven. It was probably an 8-course meal, so what you're looking at is all of the different ways to cook seafood. And everything was really good. One of my favorites was this crab yolk curry, but I was too busy eating it, I didn't get a photo. From this point forward, you will only see vegetarian food. Vegetarian food is so good in Taiwan that I wouldn't mind going vegetarian. And this is vegetarian dim sum, where it's all your familiar dishes that you know in dim sum world, but everything is made with either mushroom or some sort of tofu or eggs. Now, my mom doesn't really like food that was made to imitate actual meats. Rather, she kind of likes styles like this where they make a more creative dish that's really based on vegetables. So this one you see here is just egg poured over a bunch of vegetables and rice noodles, I think. So my mom and I went to this French style cafe to get vegetarian food, which is honestly kind of weird because then we got Korean food and then there was an Italian pizza there. So it's all sorts of stuff, but the food was pretty good. The bibimbap was a little bit on the grassy side, as you can imagine, with all those sprouts on top. But the pizza was really good. So one of the more unique things I did this time that's different from the past is going to a concert with my mom. Mayday Uyuetian is kind of like the band that all Taiwanese 90s kids grew up with. So there you have it. That pretty much sums up the Taipei portion of my trip to Taiwan towards the end of 2019. And Taipei is really just another home for me, kind of like when people go back to some place for Thanksgiving. That's how I feel when I go back to Taipei. Like, there are those special restaurants you still want to go to, and there are still things to see. But at the same time, this feels very familiar, and I don't feel the need to go seek out anything interesting, which is probably what you would see in the other vlogs that I've made with the other cities. Like, I still try to find something fun and exciting. If you haven't seen the other city vlogs yet, you can click the links. And yes, part 2 is still not up yet, but this is part 3. Anyways, I'll get around to it eventually. Right now, we're actually in the middle of quarantine, which is why I have time to work on these vlogs. I hope everybody is doing fine, staying safe, practicing good hygiene, and hopefully we'll see the end of this soon, and 2020 would become a better year.